Written by Brian May and very much loved by the entire band.
That's going to be interesting. I feel like I'm getting to know Freddie's writing a little bit, and I did hear Keep Yourself Alive by Brian May. So I would like to get to identify who's who, and of course he's the one who played the harp. Hi everyone! Welcome back to the Queen 50 series, and I'm working my way through 50 of Queen's best songs, at least according to what Vlad has chosen for me to hear. And I'm enjoying the journey very much, especially the last one I listened to, Lily of the Valley. To me, that one sounded so incredibly special, and I'm eager to keep on going and see what else I discover. Now, before I dive into this, let me just remind you that if you want to hear more of my first listens ahead of time before their public release, remember that they are uploaded onto my Ko-fi and Patreon pages as soon as we have them edited and ready to go, even before we schedule their release. Same with the Beatles 150 series, where I'm going through 150 of the Beatles songs, and with The Wall, in which I am working my way through the entire Wall album. So lots there if you're interested, and let's dive in here. Well, first of all, Vlad has given me his background notes. And what he has written for me here is, this song is noted for its hard riff and vocal harmonies. It is the song Queen performed live more than any other. Okay. Actually, it has been performed at virtually every concert from late 1974 to 1986. That's impressive. May himself continued to play it long after Mercury's death. It seems that Brian May was pretty pleased with his own creation. Freddie Mercury said in a 1976 interview with the Record Mirror, "It was nice. That was a Brian May thing. We released it after Killer Queen, and it's a total contrast, just a total contrast. It was just to show people we can still do rock and roll. We haven't forgotten our rock and roll roots. It's nice to do on stage. I enjoyed doing that on stage." Okay, this is going to be really interesting because, yes, Killer Queen was a bit different in style, and Lily of the Valley was even less rock and roll style. And I already have done those first listens. Well, I've already listened to another song that Brian May wrote, and that is Keep Yourself Alive. And I remember that one was a bit more power rock style than these others. So I'm beginning to think that Brian May tends more towards the rock power songs, and Freddie tends more towards lyrical, flamboyant, and flexibly expressive songs. Anyway, let's see what this one sounds like.
Here I stand, look around, 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 won't see. Now I'm here, now I'm there. I'm just a new man. Yes, you made me live again. The baby I was when you took my hand, and the light of the night was just you and me.
That was quite something. Before I forget, I just want to say that I find it interesting the way that they find places to insert the name of their band in the music, in the lyrics. Well, there was Killer Queen, and now here it's, at the end it says, "Go, go, little Queenie." And I don't know if that's going to be an ongoing feature, but it's interesting to see them putting their brand name in little, inserting it in at little places along the music. It's kind of fun. I also noticed that there's a lot of wordplay in here and playing around with the ideas surrounding the words, and the music is helping us out with that. Especially, now I'm here, now I'm there, you won't see me, look around, and the music is recorded in such a way that we can hear different locations here, there, all around, and it's helping us to really tune into the playful, experimental, and orientative elements of the music and the lyrics. Let's go back and listen again, and I'll pause along the way and make some comments, little things that I notice.
Here I stand.
This introductory part with just this open fifth, ching 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 ching, constant. It's a sort of ostinato. When I first listened a moment ago, there was a classical song that came to mind because it features the piano. Not exactly like this, but there's this very rapid, repeated chord pattern. Actually, now that I'm thinking of it, there's a Beethoven sonata that does the same thing. But the one I was thinking of is a song by Schubert, one of Schubert's leader. And sometime I'm going to have to introduce you to that song because I think it's one that many of you will love if you haven't heard it before. I think you will still be able to relate to it because it has some of these elements that we find in rock music of just this incredibly intense rhythmic power and the drama of the voices and it's going to be, I'm going to save that as a special listen to do together of me sharing one of my classical background pieces.
Here I stand. Look around, 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 around.
That's such a flexible, suspenseful, and kind of very delicate vocal part at first. Look around, 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 around. It's just a rising arpeggio. But the idea that it says, here I stand, And then, just as we think we're going to hear some statement of, I stand here and I'm in my place, and here I stand, a sort of non-negotiable, then we suddenly launch into this look around, and but you won't see me. Now I'm here. Now I'm here. Now I'm there. And it's taking us all these different places. The way that the voice lines are taken, 3 different parts. It's almost choral, kind of a Renaissance-y kind of sound.
Look around, 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 around. You won't see, you won't see. Now I'm here, now I'm here, now I'm here.
And just like here I stand at the beginning. When I first heard it, I thought it was going to be a statement of presence. I am here. Now, just as we come to now I'm there, suddenly the drums go thump, thump, like almost like it's a game of hide and seek. There's somebody blindfolded, wearing a blindfold over their eyes, and somebody is playing with them around. I'm standing over here. Look around, and then as they're moving, they're speaking, and so the person in the center can't really, and then just when they've almost gotten confused enough to give up, then we stamp our feet. Stomp, stomp. I'm over here. Find me over here now. Kind of a game of blind man's bluff.
Now I'm here, now I'm here, now I'm here. Now I'm there, now I'm there, now I'm there. I'm just a new man. Yes, you made me live.
We launch suddenly, abruptly into this declaration, and the music is kind of telling us that this is a proclamation. I'm just a new man, but again, it's playing. It's the suspense. I'm just a what? And all we hear is the music just building the drama. I'm just a... What? I'm just a new man. Wow, what an idea. I'm a new man. That really built up to something rather important.
Just a new man. Yes, you made me live again.
You made me live again. And I'm focusing on the lyrics because the music is kind of helping point out the lyrics here. Later on, it switches a bit and it says, down in the dungeon, just Peaches and me. Don't I love her so? Yes, she made me live again. So then, is this speaking to this Peaches, whoever that is? Or is this speaking to somebody else and is somebody who's had 2 different experiences? It's unspecific. It's not, I don't think it was really intended to be understood. It's a game again. It's the idea of I'm here, I'm there, I'm all these different places, and it's hard to pin me down, and it's even hard for you to figure out to whom I am speaking.
Just a new man. Yes, you made me live again.
Now, I guess this is the most... I don't want to say that this is stereotypical, but as I have come to get more familiar with with certain rock music habits, we could say. This kind of sound is one that has showed up in several different places, several different songs. This strong beat and this electric guitar that is really digging into a riff, and a lot of the power chords, the open fifths, as I am used to calling them on my instrument. And it gives this, well, it kind of helps to anchor us or to push us somewhere after all of this groping in the dark, trying to figure out what on earth is going on. Here we go. This feels very much, shall I say, classic rock. But I like this chorus. I like the way, even in the midst of this very rocky rock piece of music, there are things like a chorus added here. Even the introduction, that blind man's bluff game, all of that makes this more than just a stereotypical rock song. Every time we turn a corner, we find something that didn't necessarily have to be there. And at the same time, it enhances the experience so much, like this chorus here. Let's back up and hear the solo. When you took my hand and the light of the night was bright, the people lost and didn't understand, but you knew my name on sight. Whatever came of you and me, suddenly it spreads to the bed, and we're walking up this, and then suddenly this kind of exclamation, more spoken word style. But this chorus also, what came before was very rock style in that it was kind of a narrow range. The voice was staying within a certain few notes, and the instruments were staying pretty consistently on some straight harmonies. And then when the chorus enters, suddenly we start building and building and building and stepping up. Let's listen to that as it steps up again, because it really flows nicely, transitions from one to the next very nicely. Let's go back and look here for a moment. We have, and the people all stared, didn't understand. Notice that people all stared, didn't understand is mostly on a single note. But you knew my name on sight. Again, we're centered right in the same narrow range. And then here comes the chorus. Now, if we are looking at the exact notes, this note here, this E, that is the same all the way across, is also the same E that this little phrase ends on. And if we move ahead to where the chorus enters, let's move down and look and see. The chorus also enters on the same E. How do we know it's an E? If you don't read music, I'll tell you. It's super easy. We are reading each of these lines and spaces as representing a specific note. So, just a quick little music reading lesson. This is a certain note. This is the next note up. So I've got E. Then I just walk up to the next string. And then I would walk up to the next string. We're just reading directions. It's basically a directional map for us. And so whenever, as I tell my students, once an E, always an E, forever and ever and ever. It's not going to change. Not here, not ever. Because this clef, this symbol, identifies specific lines as being specific notes. Just like we learn to, oops, hang on, I've got to write this smaller so you can see. We learn to write an A. And your teacher will tell you, forever and ever for the rest of your life, that's an A. Okay? So, easy. We learn to understand that this specific note is E. And it's never going to be different so long as all the other parameters are in place. Okay? Now, knowing that, we can go back and look again. And we can see that this E here, and we can see that this E here, and then we can see that this is the same E. And again, maybe you will say, well, but it looks different because there are a bunch of dots. Of course, I'm just talking about the upper note. This note here is the one that our ears hear most clearly. Even in a chorus, it's always the upper note. So, let's listen to this and enjoy the transition between the solo voice and the chorus when it enters. And then listen to how the chorus, as soon as it enters on that note to make a smooth transition, it starts to move up and up and up. It's really great.
Didn't understand, but you knew my name on sight. Whatever came of you and me, America's new bride to be. Don't worry, babe,
And then we're into this. Isn't it so incredibly smoothly linked together, so we don't even notice all these details happening as the music goes flying by and flowing over us, and yet it's all there. Brian May wasn't such a lousy composer, was he? That was meant to be an understatement.
Don't worry, babe, I'm safe and sound. Down in the dungeon, these creatures me. Don't I love us?
More of the chorus here. And this squealing guitar above it all. It adds kind of an extra a line. I think of it in this music kind of like we're setting up for a party and somebody is stringing lights along the ceiling to keep it, to make it more celebratory. To me, that's how it strikes me there.
Don't worry, babe, I'm safe and sound. Down in the dungeon,
Now we're down in the dungeon.
don't I love us?
And somehow, it's down in the dungeon, down, 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 down here. You hear the voices going down and everything is on the lower end of the range. And then when it says, don't I love her so? That's the moment at when all these higher guitar squeals, I'm going to call them. That's not supposed to be an offensive description, okay? So please don't get upset with me. But it has this bright, wiry, thin, metallic sound. Of course, probably because they're metal strings. That makes perfect sense. But I think of it, orchestrally, I think of it in the range of the flutes and the piccolo and those sounds. And, well, a squeal.
Of you and me, America's new bride to be. Don't worry, babe, I'm safe and sound. Down in the dungeon, these creatures me. Don't I love us? Oh, she made me live again.
Now we're back into this. Kind of like, you made me live again. Every time we hear this, you made me live again, it's as if we hear ourselves settling into this rock rhythm and style. like that's us, or that's me, whoever me is, with a new energy that moves me along and keeps me alive. And then back again to this rather ambiguous placement. Me, let's see, what is it? A thin moon, me in a smokescreen sky. What does the moon have to do with this? Is this the moon that is all of this? Or, it's all very playful and meant to keep us guessing. Where the beams of your love light chase. Don't move, don't speak, don't feel no pain, with the rain running down my face. So many different ideas and images just in that little verse. And all of this, unlike the opening, this is now set more in the rock style, which brings the rock music into this whole hide and seek, can't pin me down, ambiguous, confusing, swirling haze of what? And maybe here I would have, if we were following a pattern, we might have placed a chorus here. I mean, a vocal chorus behind the solo voice. But this is not going to get too patterned, too predictable, because the whole idea is it's unpredictable. And so we hear the verse going straight into the chorus without the voices changing, at least not yet. That's even the same ascending line that the chorus sang earlier. But now it's just the solo voice. One more time and we'll go on. The rain running down my face. Your mind should still light up the sky. And many a tear lives on in my eyes. Down in the city just pulling me. Don't I love you? Now the chorus comes in. Don't I love you so? Or him so. And of course, all the instruments are just charging ahead together in a very consistent, energetic, full way. We feel like this is a kind of like the floodwaters of a river that is pushing its banks, breaking out of its banks, and it's just charging along, flowing along with a powerful current, an irresistible force. And if you are in its way, you're just going to get swept along with it. Have to ride the current. And then, as if that's not enough, as we are riding this current and it's pushing us along, we get to the end, and right here, suddenly, it shifts a little bit. And towards the end, as we're being set up for the last chorus, chorus 3, you can hear the drums becoming more assertive and the piano becoming more percussive, and there's this feeling of building strength even beyond what we were being carried along with. Listen to it here. You hear how it changes there. Listen again. This is the chorus line again, walking upwards. And now, when this comes back, bum 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 bum, it suddenly means something different to us than what it did at the beginning. Here, it is a sort of continuation of this current that has carried us along. But it's getting out of the way so that we can have another perspective, something brought back into it, which was pushed out of the way or overwhelmed when this flood of music came pouring down the stream at us.
Think I'll stay around. Down in the city, just to you and me.
Now this time, think I'll stay around. I need to go back and compare this because I think there's a slight difference here. Let me just check this out. Yes! Look around. Right here, at the beginning, it is simply a chord. What we call an arpeggio. Meaning, it's a chord that is played, instead of all at once, it's played one note after the next. And so we have around. We're just walking up. Although we could play it all at once. We are sketching out the edges, the shape of the chord, one note at a time. But then going down to the end here, instead of it being an arpeggio, well, it starts off kind of the same. Around. But instead of going around, it's more walking up. Around. And it even goes one note further to around. So we start off expecting to hear, but instead we hear it gives a different feeling, doesn't it? The first one is more open. It has a more, you could say, sweet and light feeling to it. This one, bum 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 bum. It's moving up more incrementally. It takes more time, so it gives more intensity in the same range. Bum 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 bum. It's very different from bum 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 bum. You hear the difference even just singing out the notes, but it's the same playing it, and you can hear it in the music too. Listen to this again.
Think I'll stay around, down in the city just to you and me.
This is intense here. We're back into this.
Don't I love you so?
Just settling into the groove.
Go, 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 little pretty.
Well, here we are, a year later, 1974 now, with this song, and it's the second Brian May composition I've listened to. I guess comparing it to the first one, Keep Yourself Alive, that I heard, this one is more what I would expect from someone who is a rock guitarist. He is really enjoying what his instrument can do and highlighting that in the music. At the same time, he knows when to back away and give room for other instruments' voices to contribute to the music so that it continues to be multidimensional. It doesn't feel like he's just trying to have his spot in the limelight and doesn't care about everybody else. He is taking a collaborative ensemble approach. And that's nice to see. It's nice to hear. It's a very enjoyable, well, as far as a classic rock and roll style, I have to say that it's a fairly enjoyable rock and roll song because of all these other things he brings into it and allows room for in the whole design of the piece of music. There's my first listen of Now I'm Here. And don't forget to like and subscribe and check out Ko-fi and Patreon for other series and continuing this series if you wish to see them ahead of their release. And I'll see you next time.